Good evening and welcome everyone to Cigar Sundays Live. I am Chef Earl Pearl at DBCHEFTV, always joined by the illustrious Cigarden Panel with at I Am Jazz Garcelle and the God Ali Dawood L at BK Soul Farm. If this is your first time at Cigar Sundays or you are one of our phenomenal subscribers, kindly like and share this content. Also, we would love to hear your insights during our live chat. There is a link pinned in the chat in the description so you can join the chat whenever you like. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so when we go live, you never miss an episode of Cigar Sundays Live. Peace, family.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What y'all dealing with?
Hello, everybody out there. Happy post 4th of July.
Happy post 4th of July. Yeah.
Word.
Independence, son. We got
Right,
some.
somebody's independent.
Oh, the man is independent.
You're silly.
Oh, man. We want to thank everybody for joining us once again. We have a great show tonight. Tonight's word we are discussing is segregation. Is it bad? Is it good? Is it misunderstood? From then and now. So, like we always do, before we open up and get into our discussion, we always want to go and look at the definition of the word. So anything that we may have thought that we knew about the word, or anything that we may have been taught correctly or incorrectly, we can just have an insight as to our comments and our commentary based on the definition. So like we always do, with no further delay, we're going to go ahead and get into segregation.
Uh-oh.
Segregation. Bet you haven't heard that since 8th grade history class.
Man, and our first definition, we're going to pull up on Google. So we're going to go to Google first, and we're going to look at segregation. The action or state of setting someone or something apart from others. The action or state of setting someone or something apart from others. The enforced separation of different racial groups in a country, community, or establishment. And then we have genetics, a separation of pairs,
alleles,
and meiosis, and their independent transmission via separate gametes. Okay.
Sounds like they're talking about twins.
Nah, that's just talking like strictly genetics, period. Just the literal separation of ones and zeros.
Okay.
And
okay, I see.
How the X and the Y's do what X's and Y's do.
Okay. Thank you for that, God, because we definitely was stumped on that one.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Okay, now we're going to go over to the Merriam-Webster definition. And we have segregation. It's a noun. Once again, the act or process of segregating, the state of being segregated. The separation or isolation of a race, class, or ethnic group by enforced or voluntary residence in a restricted area, by barriers to social intercourse, by separate educational facilities, or by other discriminatory means. B, the separation for special treatment or observation of individuals or items from a larger group. And then we have 3, the separation of, that word one more time, God, allelic genes that occur typically during meiosis.
Allelic.
Allelic. Okay. What I say? Allelic. Allelic. Okay. So we're gonna go to the synonyms here. Well, let's go to the thesaurus before we go through the synonyms. All right.
Synonyms.
So they have it in solitude, as in solitude, segregation, and now, according to the thesaurus, as in solitude, a state of being alone or kept apart from others. Okay, I think we see that commonly used
Yeah, solitude.
in the prison system. All right.
Isolation. So basically, it's like alone, separated.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then we have the Wikipedia definition, and it gives segregation more of a broad spec, where they break it down: separation of people geographically, school segregation, housing segregation, racial segregation, religious segregation, residential segregation, sexual segregation, occupational segregation, age segregation, and health segregation.
Wow, that's a lot.
Okay. When they were talking about the genes and the meiosis, the allelic, that I'm guessing that this would apply here to the segregation of materials, particles, and magnetic activated cell sorting. Okay. And then we have security, trial, segregated cycle facilities, Mendel's law of segregation, segregate taxonomy created when the taxon is split from another taxon. Okay. And then chromosome segregation.
Yo, that hold on. Yo, scroll down to that Mendel's. It says observation and Mendelian inheritance, that each parent passes only one allele to his offspring.
That's what you was talking about, the X and the Y's.
Yeah. Now, like that got me curious. Just because now I'm just trying to figure out what the hell is an allele, right? For real. Because if each parent only passed down one, and and we made up half of our parents and half one half of the other,
Okay.
an allele must be a lot.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna come back to that and make sure that we cover it before we go.
All right.
Before we and I'm making a note right now so we can come back and we can cover the genomic part of how the segregation is applied to what the parent passes to their offspring.
Yeah, we can just look up the Mendel's law of segregation.
Yeah.
The what?
Mendel's law of segregation. We're gonna look that up. I just wrote it down.
Oh, okay.
That's what it applies to. That's what they're saying. Okay, so we wanted to go into these similar words, right?
Yeah.
We got synonyms. We have solitude, isolation, privacy, loneliness, separateness, insulation, seclusion, aloneness, sequestration, confinement, solitariness, internment, secludedness, retirement, withdrawal, vacuum, quarantine, incarceration,
Ghettoization,
lonesomeness, and ghettoization.
Incarceration is definitely there.
Definitely. for segregation?
Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, not to fast forward, but I'm gonna say the only segregation I'm anti is forced segregation.
What did you say?
Is forced segregation because I want to say it was the the Merriam-Webster dictionary definition that talked about the first part of the definition was forced segregation of people, and then it said also, yeah, right there it says number two, the separation or isolation of a race, class, or ethnic group by enforced, like I don't like that part, or voluntary residence in a restricted area. Like that's just a gated community.
Right.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Hmm.
I'm pro that. I'm anti enforced though, right? That's somebody saying that they got the right to say that I'm different from you when you and I both have our own eyes and our own brains to discern how much alike we are. Who are them to tell us we can't be friends?
Yeah, big time, big real
Hmm.
facts,
Yeah,
real
that's true.
facts. The
That's true.
the community is not segregated until they put a gate around it.
No, so I would disagree, and I would
Is
say
that
that
what it says, or you're just saying that?
No, I'm responding to Ali's comment about the
the gated
about
community.
yeah, about the gated community. Like it's not segregated
Oh, I get it.
until we
Right.
put a gate around it.
And I would say it's segregated in name and creation if only people that only the residents can live there. Anybody can walk through, right? But only the residents can reside in this area, right? Like I don't necessarily know if I need a gate per se to say that only people that I approve can live in
Well,
this.
it's in some situation. I mean, I get what you're saying, but like in terms of the definition, they're saying it like that because when you think of actual gated, quote unquote, gated communities, they're usually like wealthy, rich people. And so there is, a
The gate.
certain tax bracket or even race of people that live in those areas. And it doesn't mean, I mean, well, kind of, because they have a security guard and all that, that
But even
people that don't
yeah,
live there can't come through. But I mean, you can't come through because it's gated for a reason.
that's true.
Okay, so
You
what
know,
about
it
the projects that got a gate around them? What about the
that's a
hoods that got a
whole
gate?
different.
It's not a
Uh,
whole different thing.
It's not a different thing,
It's the
and
same
that's
thing.
and that's exactly what I'm saying, right? Because even within one project, right, different courts could be beefing with different courts within the same one project, right? Let alone a whole nother outsider come in from someplace else talking about they want smoke, right? So segregation, like it don't necessarily like, and there's no wall saying or no gate saying that people in front page gotta hate people over here in Sunshine. Like
yeah, no, it's not about hate, but I mean, in that case, I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't know that much about like
I,
project
I'm just saying,
living
like
in that way, but I don't know what the gate. I mean, in that situation, I guess it would be same thing, safety and whatever. I guess like.
I got a gate around my backyard. It's segregated on purpose. For
so if you
sure.
did
And
if you
and the only people who are welcome there are people that I permit to go there.
if
If you
Right,
come in my
right.
yard and you do not have permission, you trespassing.
hey
So
God,
Exactly. Yeah,
if
because that's your
if
personal property, right?
if you did not have that gate, would they still not be trespassing?
they
Huh?
still will be, but they will feel, because I seen this happen. They will feel like it's okay to transit through my yard, like
Mm,
because I seen that happen. That's why when I got this home, I actually put the gate up quick because the houses next door were empty because they were brand new.
mm.
and the kids from the neighborhood would, going in the woods, doing whatever they doing or
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
But
exploring
they
and
kept,
stuff. Yeah.
but like one day I'm in my kitchen and I look out my kitchen window, I'm cooking, and there's some little kids in the back, like strolling through,
Right.
Got you.
So I'm
Yeah.
just like,
That's for them. They're still part of outside.
yeah,
I got you.
Right.
so
Yeah.
they don't,
But no,
they
I
don't,
get what you're saying
they don't,
exactly because
they don't,
they're
they don't
on your
acknowledge,
property.
no, they don't acknowledge the boundary.
There is no boundary to them because they don't.
Oh,
You know, there is no fence. There is
unless
no.
there's a physical barrier.
There is
Correct.
none. They still. It's just another part of outside.
Exactly. So I had to segregate it
That's true.
Right.
so that way they could identify.
That's true.
Now you
That's
gotta
That part of the area, that part of
now
the
if
land
you
is off limits. That's his area, that house. Yep.
now if you're there, now you know you can be
you want smoke?
yeah, you can be questioned a little bit more aggressively or
A
not.
lot aggressively.
you know
Right.
you could be challenged. I will be in the right a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You
definitely.
you'll be in the right a lot of bit.
A lot of
A
it,
lot.
yeah, a lot
Yes.
of it. But
Yeah.
before, to the point the guy Ali made, is that they look at it as like it's just outside.
It's just outside.
They outside having fun. And I didn't look at it like a negative.
Mm-mm.
I did wonder why they was looking through my window. Okay. So that right there did raise concern, because it's just like, did an adult send you to do this?
Mm.
Okay.
So yes.
Or are you just a little nosy ass child, who need to be minding your fucking business?
Right.
Plain and simple. So either way, if I have the resources, then I can go ahead and put a preventative measure in there, which is segregating my yard to make sure.
Yo, that's interesting, God. Because your upbringing dictates kind of like your thoughts and how you respond initially, right? What was the first thing you
Well,
say?
yeah.
The first thing you said was, "Did an adult send you here?"
Correct.
Right? Like a certain upbringing will make you think that first, and not they little kids first, right?
Well, it's because of how I was introduced to the community and some things that transpired prior to this happening, because situations did not happen. And I mean, shit, we on the show, like,
Hmm.
when I moved in, it was a pastor, a female
Okay.
pastor,
Wow.
and they approached me. Okay. And when they approached me very cool, welcome to the neighborhood and everything. But they were very inquisitive and nosy. Okay.
Mm,
Asking me very, very personal questions that was
that's
just like,
Wow.
you don't even know me to be asking me all these questions like this. Okay. But we in the South, maybe because you a pastor, you think you got a pass. Okay.
Right.
But then during that conversation, all right, and through some of them through that conversation, they offered me one of their family members. Okay.
What? I'm sorry.
They was walking, it was young ladies. Oh, you're not married. Oh, you don't have any
Oh.
children. Oh, but that's my niece right there. That's an offering. If I see you and I say, Jazz, oh, are you not married? Are you not with children? Okay, well,
Hmm.
this my bro. This my bro over here. He not with nobody. What you think?
that sounds like a hookup to me.
That is
That
really
sounds
bold of them.
okay. So you know what I'm
That's
saying? So of course I frown my face, like that's not very godly. Okay.
Wow. That's crazy. That's
You know
so.
what I'm saying?
Wow.
Not from my own judgment.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and
yeah.
then and then two, I didn't ask you that. I didn't even present that that's something that I was interested in. You came with all of these personal questions about,
Wow.
what I'm doing with my thing-a-ling, and you know what I'm saying, and all that. Like, mind your business. The good thing to do is just say, hey, how you doing? you know, you can ask where somebody from or whatever, and welcome to the neighborhood and keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? So after that, they even said to me like, oh, like they were drawn back by my response, like, no, thank you, whatever, because I'm honest about it, you know.
Right.
And I spoke my mind, since you being so free and, you know, with your offering, then let me be so free with my tithing. Okay. So
That's
how the
funny.
conversation ended was, or began to end, was the person was like, oh, I need to send my husband up here. And I said, for what?
Huh?
For what?
Yo, how we go from
Did she
hello?
ask? I mean, wait. So did she tell you why she wants to send her husband?
I don't know, but I wasn't interested, period. You know what I'm
Yep.
Right.
saying? Like
That's
I wasn't
weird.
interested more than the welcome to the neighborhood. That was it. Like it was cool.
How
You
we
know,
go from welcome to the neighborhood to I'm gonna send my husband?
exactly. You know, so
Like a whole lot got to transpire in between those two things.
And what is she? Never mind. Whatever.
yeah, like
Wow.
it didn't, you know what I'm saying? So then after that, right? So then after that exchange, you know, I begin to receive all of these come to church things in my mail,
Mm,
you know, which I ignored, threw them all in the trash because I wasn't interested. I'm definitely not interested. I'm not the sheep that's going to follow that pastor. That's
Right.
going that's
Yeah,
going to
especially not that
graze in
pastor.
that
Like,
pastor. All right.
yeah.
So I'm not the sheep that's going to graze in that pastor. All right.
yeah,
So so I wasn't interested in that. But then that occurred, you know, where like on more than one occasion I had I was not able to just look at it as the youth are just playing,
tracking.
because why are you looking through my window? It's a difference
Right.
if you're crossing, okay? But if you're on some peekaboo shit, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
that's
Like,
different.
you know,
Yeah, that's weird.
like
Super
what the fuck
different.
is up? You know? So I got a fence. Am I segregating my shit? You know what I'm saying? Now, who's that peeking through my window? Blah.
Blah.
Nobody now.
Nobody.
You know
That's
what I'm
what I'm
saying?
yo, that's what I'm saying, right? Like the only segregation I'm anti is the forced one, because that's the one where somebody is putting down on somebody else. Like you putting a fence around your yard is one thing, but if you decide to put a fence around the neighborhood, like that's something different, right? Like you don't have the right to do that without everybody's consent.
I mean, you do if you build it like that, and you build it for people who want to live behind a wall.
Correct.
Right.
You know, like
Mhm.
when we go to Central and South America, like all the rich people live behind a wall.
Right.
All of
Yes,
they
they
all
do.
in the Caribbean, all the rich, even you up in the hills, way up in the mountains,
You
okay,
still have a big
or you
concrete
have a
wall. Yeah,
fenced in concrete something, like that's the norm.
I
Yeah,
noticed that too.
that is
Sec-
the norm.
Security is real, right? Rule number one is safety first,
You
right?
know,
You need a good vantage point, right? You need something to, you know,
that's the norm.
shelter behind, right?
Absolutely. So where y'all want to go with this segregation? We want to let's go with let's take it back first before we come up to now, because I got some stuff about now um that we've seen over the years. We've seen many forms of segregation. The most notable within the African American, Native American, Indigenous American, uh, American history is racial segregation. Okay,
Right,
Correct.
of course.
we know that we see religious segregation going on right now, which is the separation of people according to their religion. We
Yeah.
the U.S. is a nation that, you know, quote unquote, accepts everybody's different religions. Um,
Right.
we see the religious segregation within the own sects of like Christianity. You know, you got an AME Zion, you got a First Baptist, a Southern Baptist, a Methodist,
Stop.
Episcopal, a Lutheran, you know what I'm saying?
And
Everybody's
another
saying,
one. And
and
another
another
one.
one, and everybody's saying in Jesus'
Yeah,
name we pray, but ain't nobody
definitely.
together. Like, wow. So go
That's
segregate
true.
yourselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's different forms, there's different ways that there's different, I don't know what they call it, but Jewish people, they have different like levels of Judaism. I don't think it's a different religion in itself, but like, there's Orthodox, and then there's like quote unquote like more Americanized and different,
Okay,
like,
so the Jewish community is no different than the Islamic community.
yeah,
Everybody,
yeah, that's
all the
it.
religions, you know, like we're not leaving nobody out. Everybody has their own different
Yeah.
uh
Right. And that's within
se-
their own religion
segregation.
itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody has their own different level of segregation. All right. Housing segregation is one of them things that like Ali was
Well, it's
just
a big
talking about,
one.
right? Where you know, where we have public housing, and then we have mansions and, you know, stuff that's then we got people in some gated communities, and then we got people in some nice communities and some not so nice communities, and people in, you know, so um
Hmm.
all of that, and that's like really like, you know, maybe residential, maybe that would be called like a residential type of segregation. Okay. we
Yeah.
have we do have sexual segregation, the physical, legal, and cultural separation of people according to their biological sex. We see that now with the LGBTQ plus community, and um, and then we see women's rights, and you know, and those different types of things like that. You know, um,
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
you know, because that is based on gender.
Yeah,
You
your
know,
gender, what your gender is. Yeah.
right. Then we have some age segregation that's going on. I'm not too. That's a separation of people based on their age and may be observed in many aspects of some societies. I'm not. Y'all would have to help me.
Mm,
I don't see in our culture where we have age segregation so much. I mean, other
yeah, I
than
don't
maybe
think
like you
it's
too old to join the military, but they done raised that to like 42 and 43. So just in case people don't know, you can go in the military now at age 42 and
wow.
still work for 20 years. Um, find out what service it is. So, I mean, unless you 50 or 60, is that a form of it? Well, I guess you're not qualified to receive Social Security till you're a certain age. Is that an age segregation? Unless you get hurt.
Mm,
Um,
that's tricky because it's like yes, but no, because there's people that's, I mean, this is, yeah, because there's people that are like rich enough that they don't even need Social Security. And I hate to say it like that. Like everyone needs like their resources and whatnot. But I'm just, you know what I mean? Like there's people that are like working their bones to their bones, to make it to retirement age or Social Security age so that
mhm.
they can get that extra check from the government, no
Okay.
matter what their situation is. But then there's people that are wealthy, that like super wealthy, that they might be at that age, but it's just some pocket change for them. It's just a check, like some extra disposable income for them. So it can be seen as segregation, but it's tricky in that way because it's not a complete asset for every American. Some people can do without it, and some people really need that. And some people it's not enough, depending on where you live and what your financial status is prior to qualifying for Social Security or not.
I get that, but you paid into it, so you deserve to get paid back.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
care.
No, of course.
I don't
Everyone
care.
deserves it.
I don't
Yeah,
care how much
regardless.
money. I don't care what extra work you did
Correct.
outside of
That's what I was gonna say.
because that's up to you. That's your if you want to be an
Yeah, no, that's
entrepreneur,
true.
then you go be an entrepreneur if you want to make millions of dollars.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
But either way, everybody got to pay taxes and you're going to pay into Social Security regardless. It's taken.
Right. Right. No one gets
It's the
away from
cost
that.
to do business. All right.
Hey, on another note, real quick, just correct me real quick or educate me, because the sister said about not getting paid enough. Somebody might not get paid enough Social Security, right?
Uh-huh.
Social Security is based off of your wages, correct? Right, like
Absolutely.
based
Oh,
on
yeah, that's true.
based
Yeah.
on based on the choices that you've made for your life, right? So not wealthy. So if a person was, got a good job or a responsible job or a grown up job, quote unquote, that has a pension attached to it, where they can do 15 years on a job and retire, or do 25 years on a job and retire, that person may be considered quote unquote wealthy to the person who uh planned poorly or didn't get such great jobs throughout their lifetime, and now their social security checks are a lot smaller simply because of the choices that they made, right? Like that's which is what you were saying, right? Somebody want to be a
Yes.
millionaire, some people don't want to be a millionaire, and that's kind of like the same thing.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
no, that's true.
and that's what Social Security is completely based off of.
But is there a way where you can max it out, like say you made twice as much money as I did,
Hmm.
right? But you and I both make over $100,000 a year.
What do
Is
you mean?
like say you make $200,000 a year, I make $100,000 a year.
Okay.
Now we get to retirement age.
Okay.
Is there a cap on how much we get, or will you get your Social Security based off your $200,000, and I'm gonna get mine based off my $100,000? Like
Okay.
that's the
Okay.
question.
So I cannot answer that question
That's a good question.
with full knowledge. I do know this. We both will get Social Security.
Hmm.
All right. And I do know that me making the 200,000 and you making 100,000, I do know that you could be in a better position than me, even making less.
How
As far
so?
because he learned how to budget his money. He learned how to invest
Oh,
his money. All I did was made 200,000 and then went out and bought cars and kept a car note and then went out and spent money on this and spent money on that. And I ain't never invested up.
right.
I ain't think I needed to do that
I live
because
within my means the whole time.
and he lived in his within his means. He didn't
Okay.
overspend and he saved and he invested. You see what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
then now he could get to retirement till we could both get to 65, all right, or 67 or 70, whatever it is for us.
or a
Because I'm not
million.
counting on it.
I think it's 65, I think.
Nah, it went up, especially for your age. Like it's up.
I think it's
Oh, shoot.
67.
Yeah, it's 67. And
Mm.
I just want to let people know in Kenya they was rioting about the Social Security age going up. In France, they was rioting about Social Security age going up. In the USA, I ain't saying we should be rioting or nothing. We supposed to be talking to legislators and things like that, but ain't nobody do shit but just take them raising the Social Security. So you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I think people shouldn't even be upset about it if you ain't gonna say nothing about it and speak up. Period. Okay.
Prepare and plan accordingly.
Yeah. 6 P's: proper planning for piss poor performance, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, it is up to us if we want to, you know, or you can
If we
just
want something to change.
Yeah, or you can segregate yourself. Like one of the forms of segregation we see right now is socio-economic classes.
Oh yeah, that's major.
You know, and that is how we have the structure that we have in America, where you could have some poor, some less fortunate, some more for a little bit more fortunate, a little bit more fortunate, and then the rich and the wealthy and all this other, all these classes, all these names and titles and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but nobody, and I mean nobody, all right, is exempt from taxation or inflation.
Hell no.
Okay.
True.
So that's where the playing field becomes balanced.
You want to go to jail? Don't pay taxes.
You know, or don't own nothing. Just
Don't
don't
or
own nothing.
don't own nothing. I mean,
Don't own
man,
nothing. You
yeah,
know, don't own nothing. You know, if you don't want to pay taxes, you don't want to have nothing
at all.
because you're not even going to work.
Right, exactly.
So be a bum.
Mm.
That's what he's saying. That's what they're saying. All right. So,
Which they need for the welfare system, right? They need bums. Not everybody on the system is a bum. However, in order
Okay.
for the requirement to be made, you need a certain number of people uh making it, right? And then once you get your requirement, you get your budget. Like you need a requirement. You just can't let's
Oh,
say
are you talking about for people that are on like
I'm talking about
public assistance?
public assistance. I'm talking about the money that they generate just by being available to be on public assistance. Them themselves are the requirement that generates the budget that the federal government needs, right? That big old budget, who knows where all that money, where all those resources go. We just know what folks get every month.
Well,
well, I mean, in part, yeah, and no. Like, I know if I own a home, I know I can get in the game if I go into home ownership, and then I can rent it out to Section 8.
That's true.
Okay, so
right,
like,
right.
so the money that goes to the housing portion, if I'm an owner, if I become in the housing of people business, you know, and providing homes, then I get to capitalize on that.
That's true.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
if not, then I have to be in an area where people are working, where people are self-motivated to want to have their own places and want to, you know, earn more money to live over here down by the river or this, that, and the third, you know.
Right.
So it is a gift and a curse.
Yep.
You know, it is a gift and a curse, but it depends on what side you on, what side of the coin are you on, you know.
Right.
Are you
And I
going to
guess
be the recipient and stay the recipient forever? You
right.
know, or are you a person who says, you know what, I don't mind the system, but I want to benefit off the system in another way.
In all the ways that the system is meant. So that's what I'm saying. Like the requirement is kind of dope, right? Because they do have programs in place to help everybody kind of reach their dreams and their goals if they
Yeah, and
have.
that's why people, I mean, I guess one of the reasons why people come to America, and I'm not saying the welfare, the public assistance specifically, but that
But yes,
we as
public.
America that we have all those resources in place for people. You know, we have WIC, we have um, food stamps, we have you know,
It's literally the land of milk
EBT.
and
There's
honey.
right. We have everything at our disposal, basically.
Right. So to say that, I wonder how people be like, they poor. And that's where I always be like, no, you're not poor. You're lazy and you're American poor.
Correct.
Okay. It's a difference, because if you was poor,
Oh,
then you wouldn't have nothing and you've never been anywhere. Most people who say they poor have never been anywhere to see real poor people.
Correct.
to see impoverished people.
And all those
Okay,
people look hungry.
they all look
Yeah,
hungry.
they do. They do. It's so
All
sad.
look hungry, right? Like you'll feel bad feeding
Right.
just one
And
of
that's another thing in our
Yeah,
school systems
you would get back to the
here.
ship and be fit and feel bad about dinner, feel bad
them.
about child, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
for real, the
But
really. I mean, if you have any moral, you know,
of course,
anything about
yeah,
yourself, you know, any type of
that's
compassion about
heartbreaking.
Especially when you see all the food that we waste,
Oh my
leaving
God, listen, that's what I
leaving
was just
said
gonna say.
leaving said port. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. In our school system too, we have, I mean, there's certain schools here in Pittsburgh that and I hate that it's like this, but some schools that are in certain neighborhoods or areas that are more like low income areas, I guess. Every weekend they send the kids home with a food bag of non-perishable items. You know, the kids get um,
that's dope.
snacks, gummy bears, chips, canned goods, macaroni, oodles and noodles every Friday or every other Friday at various schools in our district. And that's, because their school is on that type of plan. And that's America. That's what we have here. But it's like, that's a luxury almost,
right,
like
right.
they're
And
giving
it's
away,
Not almost,
like,
not almost. It's a
no,
whole.
almost,
it's not almost a luxury here. That's the
It's
norm.
that's the norm,
That's
right?
the
And
right,
norm here. We got soup kitchens. We have
right.
a very functional welfare system. I mean, I know that's not the PC word, but whatever, it's welfare. That's what it always been.
even
Um,
Right.
even 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 the shelter program
the shelters,
is is
Oh, yeah.
is
Our
is not as
shelters,
it's not as safe because of the people that's in it, but
right.
the system itself is set up to allow a person to correct themselves.
correct.
Right, to have a house here in Pittsburgh we call them the unhoused instead of saying homeless, but I mean it's the same thing, but they're building like a new unhoused center for 500 people or so, because there's encampments and whatever around our city, but it's going to be like a state of the art building. It's not just some rundown warehouse type, like, you know,
Yeah,
it's gonna be
and
nice.
none of those places are run down. All of them places are funded
Right,
well. We have pantries. Okay, there are food pantries in America. There are churches that do food drives. It's always some type of Salvation Army, the Goodwill. I
right.
mean,
All of
so
that.
like,
Which begs the question, like the budget, right? Because if a lot of that work is from the big corporations, tax written off, right? But the requirement
Yeah,
is we need $5 million for this program to fund it because they talking about all the food, they talking about all the different programs for the children, talking about all different things for the work programs. However, they link with all these other companies and corporations to where their relationships make it work, right? Because that's how America works. Like is one
right.
hand,
Relationships. Yeah.
it's all
Networking.
relationships,
Yep.
right? Like I mean, it all depends on how you look at it, right? Like it's to me, I see I see it's good,
Oh,
right?
I think it's really awesome because you can't build something without other people. You have to have the resources from here, from there, from whatever. I mean, unless you're like, one Bon Jovi is donating the whole building, but you're gonna have to get your brains together and have a whole board of directors of what do they need, what resources can we get here and there and how can we build this and all that.
okay, so Sasha Denise O'Neill, what's up? What's up?
What's up, Sasha?
Um,
What up? What up?
they're not helping the people that are in shelters. It's all a scam. And then she said, I know this to be true because she knows people that are in shelters. That's what's up.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
but that's, like I'm sure it's many stories from different states, but that's just one area. What we're mainly talking
Yeah,
about
that's just
is the fact that there are shelters.
Which is my whole point. Like the fact that I'm saying, like I agree and disagree with her point, right? It's 100% scam. right? Like
Yeah, I'm sure it's possible
like
out there. Yeah.
you need the requirement, you need the people, right, for the requirement to be there in order for you to make a pitch, in order to get funding for a
For the
project,
building, yeah.
right? However, if you get the money, but then the building gets donated, you still got the money,
Mm-hmm.
right?
So
What do
you
you?
winning.
Right. No matter what.
So you winning. I mean, what side of the coin are you on? Are you
Right.
coming? Are you coming to
Sounds
the
kind of
shelter?
shady.
Okay.
This
No,
is
it
America.
don't. It
What do you mean?
sounds
This is
like the American way.
this is America. Like
Are you
yo,
coming
we
to the
just
shelter?
we just had a Independence Day celebration, right? Like that was all
Right.
war, no taxation without representation. I ain't paying you nothing, right? Where's the requirement,
Exactly.
right? Like where are all the people that say we gotta keep paying Britain these taxes when they way over there? All the people over here saying, man, F that. Let's go to war. Let's bang it out.
Mm.
And we free now.
Yep. So since we are free, we're gonna go ahead and transition to the next clip with the
Uh-uh.
freedom. We just talking about letting freedom reign.
Let freedom reign.
Let freedom reign. So
Let
um
freedom ring.
hopefully we don't get struck or whatever. I don't even, I'm not too familiar with what that means. There's
Right.
a brother in social media, his name is Charleston White, and he been on the scene for quite some time. He's known for um a lot of truth telling and a lot of being disrespectful to get his point across. um
Mm.
I never really um I never was offended by him when he came out because I listened to what he said. The brother said, and shout out to him, he said that when he started doing his internet thing, that nobody paid attention to him because it was kind of like what we doing, like we not really being disrespectful to nobody. We trying to, make sure
Yeah.
that people can actually take something from the message,
Uplift, educate.
you
Yes, sir.
know. And he said nobody was listening, nobody
Mm.
was paying him any attention until he started being disrespectful,
Until he started getting disrespectful. He made some
yeah.
noise.
And then people
Yeah.
started tuning in. But
Of
of course,
course.
he had to understand what that came with because people are ultra sensitive, nowadays. A lot of men raised by their mothers, so they don't have any masculine energy around. They triggered by words, which is a feminine emotion. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I take it with me. You know what I'm saying? I take it however anybody want to bring it back to me. All
Yeah,
right.
I was gonna say
It's true. I don't like some words.
you're right.
So, so the brother said some stuff. And one thing that I noticed that he did was he segued his whole internet thing into where now he does stand-up comedy.
What?
And now people pay him to hear him talk that
Real
shit.
real talk.
You see what I'm
Who
saying?
is this guy?
So that's the salute right there that, like, I would say the idiots ain't see. Everybody who was in their feelings, like, oh, how you
Maybe
gonna
that was
say
his.
this? And all these people
Maybe.
hoping, wishing death on this man
Whoa.
who cannot see past the surface because they surface dwellers. They only listening to the first part. It's like sometimes when you're having a conversation with somebody and they pick and choose
Hmm.
what they want to hear,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
playing it safe on this one. You know what I'm saying? And they only hearing the parts that they want to hear. They're not listening to you. They're hearing you. Okay. Um, so that's what the majority of people do. They only hear you. They don't listen. They don't listen to internalize, to digest, to receive it. They just hear you. And then they hear the parts that they don't like. And then that's what they determine that they make their whole mind up about that one little part and negate everything else that was communicated. Okay. So that's what Charleston White fell victim to. But he knew he was going to fall victim to that Okay, but he segued that into now people will them same people who was probably offended, all right,
I'm laughing now.
or some people like myself who wasn't offended, will now go catch him at the show, take your lady out, you know, or whoever out, go out on a date, and you know what I'm saying, go enjoy yourself, and it'll be a night with Charleston White, you know.
That's
And
interesting.
so salute that. I salute that, man, because nobody really saw that, and a lot of my homeboys who call me with the foolishness, I kept on saying that. I kept on saying, like, you know, but they ain't want to believe me. But I'm like, just watch, dude. Watch what he do, man. So there's a clip for that I saw on Instagram of him making I guess it's a clip, you know, it's a little sound bite of him making a statement about Dr. King, rest in peace, Dr. Martin Luther King,
I say.
and his I guess own personal vision for segregation or desegregation. I guess it was from desegregation. So I just wanted us to look at this real quick and then get everybody's opinion on it, you know. So I'm gonna pull this up right quick.
You know what he was doing, homie. He was a 25-year-old Southern Baptist preacher that had a bunch of people telling him this. Now, always remember, he wasn't popular with that belief in the beginning. They thought he was crazy. What the fuck wrong with you, nigga? You're a troublemaker. And even the old black people thought he was crazy. Why would you want to go eat at their restaurants? We don't. You know how they go do it. Yeah. They go spit in our food. Why you want to go over there, nigga? You crazy. We don't want to live next door to white people, nigga. You know white folk kill us. So they thought he was crazy. That was his dream. That wasn't for us. We wasn't supposed to be paying him no goddamn mind. That was his dream. I have a dream that one day we would hold him. He wanted to hold white folk hands. Black folk don't do that. They gave us him. They picked him. So he pushed the narrative, not knowing the consequences. Toward the end of his life, he told Harold Belafonte, I think I led my people into a burning building. We shouldn't have never, we was getting hit upside our head, homie, just to sit at their counter. We don't want you in here, nigga. Why, homie? For what? So what if they don't let us in there? Nigga, we don't want, white folk can't cook no way. Nigga, we want to go eat a white person's apple pie. Fuck that, nigga, please. That was his dream because his grandmother told him when he was a little bitty boy, he couldn't play with that white boy. That was his dream all his life. So they took his dream and made it ours, and it became a nightmare. We gonna take the signs down. Just go out there and tell
First,
What y'all think? Martin Luther King's dream. You know what I'm saying? Was it his?
I see where he's coming with it because and his whole comedian thing. I mean, not thing, but I see his comedic flair on the whole thing, which I get. But I mean,
Jazz,
he
that didn't
wasn't
sound
there.
like comedy. That sounded like sincerity. It sounded like he was very sincere.
No, to me, it sounded like comedy.
Okay, okay.
To me, parts of it, the way his inflection, it did. Come on, it did.
No, I don't agree, but go ahead. It's all good. You
Okay,
can have your own
yeah.
opinion. I think he was being serious.
I think that, and I mean, I don't know the guy personally. I never had a conversation with him, but I do feel like some of the parts of it were meant to be funny, were meant to be comedic. And even though if he was, you know, saying it with a straight face and it's his honest truth, I know, but it was just the tone was like there were comedic undertones. Like,
okay, so look,
I mean, I
look, not
understand.
about the comedic undertones. What you think about what he was saying, though? The message that, you know, is he wrong?
Honestly,
Do it make sense? Do you think that in your lifetime has it, you know, based on what you've learned from, because like I know my mom went to the back of the bus. I know my mama went to the back of the bus. You know, I know she
yeah, I know mine did. She lived in Louisiana.
Like my mother told me a story about her going to the back of the bus and my granddad to the back door of a restaurant, and my granddaddy purposely made her go to the, because she wanted to go so bad. Okay, they said they was riding up the road somewhere coming between north and the south. And she wanted to go to the bathroom or do something. And my granddad was like, you know, we can't stop here, you know, or something. We can't go there. So she was adamant about going. So he took this as a learning lesson. Okay, you want to go there? All right. Of course, he went with her, but then he allowed her to go there, and experience that. Them telling her, no, little black girl, you got to go around the corner somewhere. You can't do that here, you know? So she could actually realize, like, this is the world you live in. This is real. This is what's really going on. Okay. So I get from that, you know, when we correlate it to like Black Wall Street and things like that. Okay. What I take from that is I don't think that none of it was comedic. You know what I'm saying? Like none of it was even funny.
Really?
None of it was funny. To me, none of it was funny. You
know? No, I don't think it was funny, but I just the way he said it, like
yeah. And I'm not trying to get stuck on that. I'm moving past that. Like I just don't think it was funny because I want to finish my point. When we examine the question is, were things better, you know, for Black people prior to desegregation?
No.
Versus segregation. Okay.
I don't think so.
I didn't live in pre-segregation.
Yeah, I didn't either. But
okay. And today, if I look at some of the core things and core values that we had as a people, as far as a community, as far as the willing to work together, as far as hell, even if everybody was scared together. Okay. But that meant everybody would work together to preserve whatever they had. So when I compare and contrast that to now, where we see Charleston White now taking shots at Umar Johnson. Umar Johnson was taking shots at brother this person and that person, and they had all this. We have all this conflict amongst each other, right? The guy said last show, I don't want to hear nothing from a rapper on politics. I didn't remember then, but Ice Cube has a great CBA, a collective bargaining agreement. He a rapper. His collective bargaining agreement that he was trying to sit down with Trump was the only one that would even try to even give it a listen. All right. What I'm saying is we need everybody in the room. Okay. We need Charleston White in the room. We need Umar in the room. We need Ice Cube in the room. We need LeBron in there. We need Jay-Z in there. We need Dr. Claude Anderson in there. We need Dr. Boyce Watkins. We need everybody. Professor Griff, Dr. V, Dr. Valentine. We need everybody in there that's willing to say, that come with some solutions to this thing, because we are segregated. Okay, within our own community, we are segregated because don't nobody want to rock with nobody. Don't nobody want to work. Families don't want to work together. We segregated within our families. Okay, so if me and my sister don't talk and we don't have no relationship, we segregated. Okay, if me and my cousins don't have no relationship and we don't talk to each other, we don't like each other, we have a hatred amongst each other, we segregated. Plain and simple. And it's probably self-inflicted because we grew up together.
Right. Yeah.
So this just things that we went through that we haven't even discussed amongst each other. So it's not like we can't fix it. So if it's not things that we can't talk, that's the thing I'm saying. all these brothers, the 19 Keys, what's the other brother name? The brother from Islam,
Or Rizza Islam.
Rizza Islam. You know what I'm saying? Like, why all these people can't get together in the same room and talk about what we can do? You know, all these people, but everybody got
Right.
their own. Everybody segregated. Everybody got their own way they want to do it, but don't nobody want to work together.
Right.
So prior to Dr. King's dream, there was more people of color working together. That's the only point I'm making. I rest, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah.
It's on me.
It's on you, God.
Hmm.
Word. Peace. I want to thank y'all for this time. Nah.
What? Are you ending? Are you leaving? What's going on?
No. So the very first thing that I want to address is is Sister Jazz reaction um to the video. The fact that brother White is a comedian
Hmm.
and is saying some profound stuff to change people or whatever is a major problem. And her reaction, in my observation, right, is why I'm saying so. Um, if you look at, you mentioned Ice Cube, I'm scratching. I wrote some stuff down because I'm lear-
Uh-oh. Taking
I'm
notes.
I'm learning because I cut my wife off all the time, and I'm learning how to patiently wait and write down notes of things that I want to say in the meantime, between time, so that I don't forget. Right. Um, Ice, you brought up Ice Cube, right, and how he's a rapper and he's also into politics. I would challenge that and say that Ice Cube is not a rapper, right? He's an ex rapper, right? He's a regular citizen doing his own thing. So when I look at Ice Cube, even though I'm calling him Ice Cube, I don't know his real name. I know Ice Cube,
O'Shea Jackson.
O'Shea Jackson.
O'Shea Jackson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he started in rap. That's where we know him from. So he a rapper.
That's
NWA.
so I would take issue with that because I look at it like Baba Dick Gregory, right? When he was a comedian, he was a comedian. But when he became an activist, he stopped telling jokes. So there was never a time when in his activism when he even may have been saying something in a funny way that he was
Right.
taken as a joke. Whereas Charleston White um, could be seen as being funny, and
Right.
everything that he said could be missed simply because you dismiss him as a comedian and that he's being funny and that
Right.
he's not to be taken seriously, even if everything that he says is 100% correct. It wouldn't matter, and it doesn't matter because of the comedic factor where it's like, oh, he's not serious, he's a comedian. So
Right.
that's my first point to that. And I get it. Like we got other rappers, that dabbled into politics, and I disagree with all that. I'm saying if you're gonna jump in, use your influence, use your base that you got, right? And if you got to put on shows to fundraise, that's one thing, but don't use your base to put out an album and then talk about some politics stuff in your albums about uh demoralizing women and doing other things or whatever, right? I don't know whatever. So that's the to the point of what he was saying about Dr. King's dream.
Hmm.
I too would agree that civil rights was a nightmare, right? And that
Hmm.
human rights is what our people should have fought for all along, right? And because of what happened in 1776 when we became free, when we became independent from Great Britain or England or whatever, all of our ancestors that signed up and registered to fight for this country or for the establishment of this country was promised their freedom. They was looked at as human beings, right, at that moment, right? So when we became America,
Right.
we became Americans, right? Like at that time, like that was way before any emancipation or anything like that.
Proclamation.
Like
Yeah.
that's a whole lot of documentation of our ancestors that were promised their freedom or they were given, like the American Revolution, the Civil War, like all the all of our conflicts our ancestors have been a part of and have been pivotal. So to ask for civility when the reality is the only reason why this thing is because I'm saying kick rocks. That was the most polite thing that I could say at the moment, right? So civil rights was definitely a nightmare, right? Abandoning, like the guy said, um I'm gonna jump down to my other thing because you talked, no, it's next. So you talked about community, pre-segregation, right? That's what I'm saying, right? Like forced, like this whole conversation we talk about right now is under the context of forced segregation or enforced segregation, right? Where is racism and white supremacy. Now, if you minus that part and you actually look at how we was living when we was living with and amongst each other and for and by ourselves, like we actually had a community, like we actually had a singular thought that we all shared for our own safety, for our own progression, for our own well-being. Like it was a lot of collectivism. The moment that we got permission to go eat nasty Italian food, if you know, versus, from, not, I ain't gonna pick on the Italians, but nah, Italians got good food. They season their food. They they do a good job, right?
From
Hmm.
somebody who grew up on pizza, that's not too sharp.
Yo, real talk,
You
real
trying to
talk
tell me
though,
them
real
slices
talk.
after
But
school
but
wasn't the joint? Come
but
on, man.
I tell you, God, yo. So to that point right there,
Come on.
when I went to Italy, you talk about pissed off. When I actually got a real slice of pizza from Italy and it was super gourmet and
Yeah.
it was completely different than what the hell I'm used to. They looking at me like, what, like this is the thing, and I'm like, nah, that's not the thing. Like I want I want real pizza. Like I want pizza. I came all the way to Italy. I've been on this boat rocking and rolling, right? All this time, and I'm finally here. I hit all these different cities, and all y'all pizza is not good.
Nah, shout out to them though. Like shout out, we not taking shots at nobody food. That was Charleston White doing that.
Def, that was Charleston White, definitely,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
Right. But to his point though, right? Like the our mom and pops, like we call them mom and pops, right? They was near and dear to our hearts. We allowed them to close down because their establishments were not worthy of us to invest our money in to make them have brighter lights and newer paint and shinier floors and to help them be better. We said these clip white folks on old school, these white folks establishments was better, and all these mom and pops show, closed down, right? That was negative. The community broke apart once the businesses that funded the community fell apart. Like there was no resources, no longer to hold the community together because all of the resources went away. Nightmare. Uh,
Hmm.
what else I got? You talked about the Umar Johnsons. You talked about the the natural Tahuti. So like all the different influences and stuff like that. And how come they don't get together and we don't have unity? Like, so this is my thing to that.
Mm.
We have enough resources. Like the elders have given us enough information. They have given us enough plans of action. They have given us enough things to think about. They have given us enough things to ponder on that they have done themselves. They've and they've laid down a path for us to follow. We keep falling back into plantation thinking, looking for a savior, a messiah, somebody to galvanize us and take us in the right direction. And we fail to realize where the requirement generates, right? Like what I say, you need us unified on a requirement. You need us to be unified on a thing in order for something to happen. As long as we keep looking at the Umars and the Charleston Whites fighting and these and that one's fighting, we keep looking at each other talking about, yeah, if they can't get it together, you and I are not going to be able to get it together, when that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is we are already together, right? And we allow ourselves to be told that we need more than what we are already. I say peace God because I am all of my potential, right? All of my possible potential. Everybody is, right? When you wake up in the morning, you have an opportunity to be the best version of yourself. That is your responsibility. That is your chance. That is your choice, right? It doesn't matter what your mother said, doesn't matter what your father said, doesn't matter what your spouse say. Like, it's on you, right? So like, you know,
Right.
birds of a feather think together, they gotta flock together, they gotta link up, right?
Right.
And we gotta stop waiting on people to tell us stuff that we already know. Like Dr. Amos Wilson wrote 1,000-page book. You know, I joined the book club, and the RAM book club, we it's called the Resurgence of an African Mind, right? It's a Facebook group. Dr. Oya Mayat runs it. We read that 1,000-page book. It took us 8 months to get through that book, to come back every week and to have conversations and build on what it is that the elder was telling us to do and how to get right, and if we agree with it or not, right? And once you see a plan of action and you agree with it, the only thing left is to do it.
Yep.
Soon as you don't do that, you're a liar. You are disingenuous. You, like, all the negative things that you can say about somebody else, right? That's why I don't point fingers, because you got all these joints pointing back. I flick boogers, right? I'm in self-defense mode. I'm trying my best to live as righteous as possible, to where, you know, if you want to smoke, like, you really had to be like, yo, Ali, I want smoke, right? You had to do this, right? It's not me. I'm sorry, sis. I see your eyes. Like, my analogies be everywhere. Like,
No, 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 no. Sorry.
but I
Not
think
trying to make you feel any type of way with my facial. Sorry about that.
no, it's
Okay,
all good.
so
But I think
so check it.
that was everything
That
though.
was everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've had a quick question.
Hmm.
What path did the elders leave? You made a good point about, you said that they left a path, and I just wanted you to expound upon what path did they leave already.
So book wise, as far as paths, you got Powernomics. You mentioned Amos Wilson. He wrote a bunch of books of how to's, of how to get into financial security, community wise, and stuff like that. Again, Dr. Amos Wilson wrote a bunch of books, giving out a bunch of lectures to 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 get people to where they need to get. You got Dr. Naeem Akbar, psychologist, right? Like he wrote a book that I think everybody needs to read. Like it's called The New Vision for a Black Man by Dr. Naeem Akbar. It is, I think, is a must for all Black men, period, but more especially for our sisters that's looking for a Black man as a mate or as a partner, right? Because again, if we look at what we're doing here at Cigar Sundays, is totally in line with what Dr. Akbar is talking about as far as getting to an understanding, right? You go through stages in your life, youth, manhood, old age. Like these are not just words that we say. These are realities of expression of time,
Right. That we're living every day.
right? So you can't get it back. So there are a bunch of plans out there, right? There are a bunch of groups. You got in South Carolina, you got Oyatonji Village, right? Another gated community out. I haven't been there, and it's is my desire to reach soon, right? And hopefully become a member, because my people from South Carolina, and I'm saying, if we all Gullah, let's all link, right? I'm one of those people that, before I changed my last name, anybody that had the same last name as me, if your last name was McCray, if you spelled it with one C or two C's, a E, a Y, E A, it didn't matter to me. I'm saying we some type of family. Somebody just spelled their names differently a little further up, but what's the chances, right? But that's just me.
Yeah, that's all love. Okay, so we just
So there's
wanted to
plenty of paths out there.
yeah, so we wanted to go with the paths, and that's why I asked that specifically because there are people out here that are looking for the next savior, looking for somebody to tell them. I mean, hell, that's why people go to church and they follow their pastor. All right.
Right.
So that's where it comes from. That's where they get it from. Martin Luther King had all those parishioners. All right. Malcolm X had all his parishioners, all his followers. All right. So this is a human concept that we see. And the thing is yes, I'm on board with you, God, where yes, I'm a God too. And everything that you see, I am, everything, all the potential, I have it. I just have to do the work and manifest it. Okay. The thing is you and I know that. Okay. So if you and I know that, all right, then this way I gotta be really real about it. Then fuck all the black people who ain't on that. And we don't need to talk about them. We don't even need to discuss what they need to do, because we so busy focused on because we got it.
Right.
If we take that mindset, then we don't have Cigar Sundays, because now we so busy building what we gotta build. And it's like, nigga, if you don't learn, fuck it. Cause it's enough shit out here. It's enough stuff that the elders got out here already that you should be hip enough to, okay, we ain't on that. But all of these brothers who I was talking about, they have parishioners. And because we know power is in numbers,
yeah,
you have to bring them together. Well, we don't have to do nothing, because if we ain't trying to solve nothing, then you and I still gonna do what we gonna do. You, Jazz Garcelle, BK Soul Farm, we still gonna do what we gonna do,
regardless.
And anything else that we choose to manifest. But if it ain't about bringing the people together, that's what the Million Man March was for. That's what Farrakhan brought the Million Man March.
I was just gonna say the Million Man March.
We just ain't leave with no instructions. Okay,
which is my point, right?
So we learn from so now what it should be then is we learn from the past, so we don't. That's what St. Kofa about, right? So now we actually practicing Sankofa and
Go
we
back and get
implement
it.
it, right? But
That's my point.
what we have to do is if we can't get everybody together, then it's only gonna be us who practicing Sankofa. It ain't gonna be everybody. Those
Right.
people with those
Those that want to do
promotions,
it.
Yo, what's the word for today?
segregation,
Isn't it segregation?
right?
That's how we get there. Like this is what it is, right? Like
And that's what I'm talking about.
so I would challenge you a little bit, right?
Come
Because
on, yes,
because
do it all the
because
way. Come on,
because
God.
I'm saying if
What
it
is it?
if it was not for Cigar Sundays, I wouldn't be talking to y'all. Not y'all. I love y'all, but
Yeah, yeah.
I'm talking about the world. Like I wouldn't be talking to y'all and trying to educate, inform, and enlighten. Because the truth is, everybody on this panel have read the books. We have put in the time, and we are like currently actively like we've taken time out of our
My
thing,
life, my
Yeah,
work
yeah,
schedule.
out of your life, out of our lives. Yeah, yeah.
right?
Time is energy. Time is energy.
To come here and do a thing, right? Like
Mhm.
yes, like hopefully we go viral or whatever, and that
Yeah, I'm
generates some kind of
learning
money or
things. Like
whatever.
even if I
Nah,
don't, like
But
it's not
even
about that.
but
It's about,
but more
the
especially
deeper things,
more
you
especially
know?
for me, like ever since I became an author, like when you write, you automatically live forever,
big
right?
facts.
Your
And
legacy.
and that's kind of how I feel about these podcasts, right? Like we come here to not necessarily live forever, but put out our message,
Right.
for all those that can hear it, not for everybody to hear it, but for all those that can hear it, and those are the people that we talking to, right?
The ones that want to listen.
And Cigar Sundays opens up Ali to a lot more people because normally, I'm talking to a small group, right? My gated community will have like a real wall and like a bunch of Belgian Malinois running around, right? So
Okay. So I mean, like, okay, like
What?
that's the what if, but
Um,
we were was really going on, right? So, and I'm
Fact.
hey,
with
I'm
you,
glad you're
and I'm
honest.
with you, but what's really going on, right?
Yeah, nah, yeah, nah.
So
Yeah.
so
Like so
I
you
understand
talked
where you're
about the
coming
million
from, but I'm
you
like,
talked about the Million Man March, right?
yeah,
And this is my problem.
Hmm.
I'm gonna pick on Umar real quick, right? Because Dr. Umar Johnson
Was he a
needed
part of that?
nah
he
that
may
was a
have went. It was years ago, but he may. I don't know how old he is, but if he's at least 45, he it's possible that he went.
He could
Because
have
I
been.
mean, because the brother
yeah
from Philly too.
yeah I'm
So yeah,
segueing
he probably came down.
I'm using Dr. Umar Johnson and I'm using the Million Man March same time, so they're not the
Okay,
same.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Dr. Umar needed, as brilliant as he was, as much of a businessman that we think he is and stuff like that, he did not put together the resources that he needed to get for his school and make it happen. He rely and relies on the people to generate that money, right? and
Oh,
and and he is my proof of what I'm saying, that the people got to be galvanized on an idea, right? And if you don't have enough people galvanized on an idea, and you either need to localize your idea to what you do got and go do that, or
hmm,
your idea will never ever come true because you don't have what you need to make it come true, or you're not the person to make it come true. Either way, you don't have it can't work. The Million Man March, like it really was a million men out there,
I
and
believe so.
and and a million men walked away talking about what do we do now,
Correct.
right.
right? There was no the million men didn't walk away with a plan or an agenda or a single goal or idea. Like there was no we gonna focus on education. There was no we gonna raise our credit to do this. There was no nothing,
Right. Hmm.
right? So that's what I'm saying, right? Like those people being able to galvanize the people means nothing if the people are not galvanized in themselves. If the people don't see themselves as God, as much as the person that they're looking up on a pulpit as God, that's my problem with the Umars. And I love the minister.
I disagree with that
Okay.
because we live in a, that's good for you and me because we know better.
Right.
But we live in a society
That's
where
true.
where people follow. They need
They need a leader.
somebody. They need a leader. That's why they go to church and they follow and they think the pastor is the most holiest of them all.
See, I
That's
don't
why that's why these cats, that's why these cats that I grew up with, you know what I'm saying, be trying to be pastors when they get older because they, you know what I'm saying, because they think that that's a status.
There's a
You know,
status.
Right.
that's why
Yes.
some of these
Yes.
cats, that's why some of these cats that don't even, you know what I'm
Status.
saying, that
Preach.
never really like did any other thing else. You know what I'm saying? Like now it's a pastor because it's still this stigma within the community that, oh, that's a pastor. Oh, that's a holy man. Oh, that's a, like
Right.
they
The
don't,
bishop. Yeah. The
you know what I'm
preacher.
saying?
Yeah.
Like they don't shit the same and bleed the same like you do and think and have imperfections and everything else
Oh,
and
yeah.
still learning
Exactly.
and trying to figure things out. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They just know how to pray real good. If I practice, I could pray real good too, out loud. You know what I'm saying? To make you a believer. Okay. And
Right.
tell you to walk by faith and not by sight. You know what I'm saying? So you want me to believe
It's
in
a lot
something I
to
ain't never
it. It's a lot
seen.
to it.
Okay.
Yep.
But just say it real smooth and I get you in the groove. That's
Yeah.
all that shit is. So at the end of the day, all right, at the end of the day, if you don't bring them, why Charleston White said all them people he got, Martin Luther King got all them people, he got us to believe in it, right?
Right. He did.
And he set the example. So the difference is DB Chef TV and BK Soul Farm and I'm Jack Garcelle ain't following the example. We've learned some other things. Okay.
Right.
That's
Martin
the
Luther-
difference. But that's good for us because that worked for us. Other people need their pastor. They need that's what they say. I can't argue if they do or they don't. They say they need that fellowship. They say they need that
Right.
structure. They say they
Hmm.
need that for their spiritual well-being. And I salute that. What I say is, I don't give a fuck about none of that. I'm talking about the actual parts of the things that can be beneficial as a community. I don't care how you go pray. It don't matter to me what you believe in or don't believe in. If you're a good human being, I'm gonna rock with you. Okay.
Right.
I require honesty and trust and fairness and integrity. I require that. Okay. From everybody I'm dealing with. Period. I don't care if you're a Muslim, a Christian, a Jew, a
Hebrew
Hindu,
or
a
Jew.
Buddhist.
You
I
shouldn't
don't
have.
care what you, I don't care
Yeah,
if you what your complexion is either. You know
that's
what I'm
it.
saying?
That's
If you
right.
do me dirty, then I'm not gonna deal with you.
Period.
Hopefully you didn't kill me. Hopefully I didn't allow myself to be so but my God so down because of your illusion of trust, the
Mhm.
illusion of trust that you presented. Okay, that I didn't let it kill me. Okay. But then I'm going to use this brain right here to say, nah, I ain't turning no other cheeks.
Mhm.
I ain't trying to do unto others as they were doing. Nah, I do unto others as I do to myself because I ain't going to never treat me like shit. Ever. I don't know what you're going to do unto yourself. I don't know how you're going to treat yourself. Okay. But what I
Hmm.
do know is we need those people who who are able to communicate that to people, and they adopt those doctrines and those mindsets, and they believe in what, and they follow them guys. Those guys, Ice Cubes is a rapper to me. He always gonna be a rapper. His
Me
last
too.
album, it was in 2018. So he's still rapping. He just ain't dropping nothing new. That's how I look at it. If he come
Word.
out with a single, he's still rapping. So
That's
he,
true.
you know what I'm saying? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not trying to jump into the semantics of like how Dick Gregory did it, because Dick Gregory quit doing comedy.
Which is why Dick Gregory is my example always.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that was a great
but he
example that you used.
but he the only one. So it's like,
Which is what I'm saying, right?
you know, so like it's no going, you know,
That's why.
it's no comparison.
Which
That's
is
what I'm
why.
saying. Like,
There's nobody else.
Which is why I don't want to hear from them,
but
because
but I need Ice Cube and all of his listeners. Okay. See, I'm looking at the big picture. You may not want to hear from them. I'm saying that all the brothers that I know that grew up listening to Ice Cube, cold brothers, you know what I'm saying? Smart,
Mm-hmm.
intelligent brothers. All these brothers who would say, who wouldn't do it for a pastor, who wouldn't do it because they Muslim, who wouldn't do it because they think Charleston White is a joke, who wouldn't do it because they think Dr. Umar is a scammer, who wouldn't do it because they think Rizza Islam is a square, who wouldn't do it, but they would do it because Ice Cube involved in it.
Right.
See, I
That's a
need that.
whole
They
different
would do
thing,
it
right?
because they got a pastor who says, it's okay. I trust this situation. I trust this group for y'all to come in, for us to all get on board on the same thing. Because what we trying to do, what we would be trying to do, is to build a collective. And because we had the examples of all of these things that didn't work with no direction, it would be foolish to go into it again and not correct those mistakes from the past.
Mm-hmm.
Then all it would be is a concert. That's all it would be.
Exactly. It would just be a concert. It wouldn't be anything educational or something to uplift the people, you know.
which is what I'm saying it would be, right? And that's what I'm saying, right? So I would give you, I would stick on the example of Dr. Martin Luther King, and I would add in uh the honorable Marcus Garvey, right?
Okay.
During the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King, if it wasn't, let's say whatever it was, the people walked for 2 years, right? Like they was able to get on an accord, and on board and on mission, and decide to boycott the buses. The people themselves, right, for 2 years were convinced enough in their heart that it was worth it to them, whether it was what Dr. Martin Luther King said or not. It was worth it to them to follow through and walk for 2 years and make whatever changes that they was demanding for that come true, right?
Right.
It
They
was
made it
and
a reality.
They was
I'm
all in.
I'm saying it was the people that were all in,
Right.
right?
Right. If they
That
hadn't come together and did that strategy, there wouldn't be a change.
But they
There
was
might be.
following Dr. King though. They
they
wasn't
correct.
trying, they got
They
assembled
was
by him, by his.
but they was I'm saying that they was
His
following
leadership.
I'm saying that they was following their heart, right? My second example is the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, right? The Black Star Line.
He was a Black Panther, right?
Nah, this
Oh,
brother came all the way from a whole nother country, right? Like his plan wouldn't work with his people. His people told him to kick rocks, right?
oh,
So he came here, and he galvanized a bunch of Americans to pay him in nickels and dimes and quarters to buy a fleet of ships, multiple ships, a Black Star line of fleet. Like, enough black people thought that it was so important, that this mission that they was doing was so important, that they took this, they robbed Peter, so to speak, to pay Paul,
mm-hmm.
right? You don't
No,
get
no.
You don't think so?
No, I don't. I think they invested in a business idea, and
That's what
it became
same
fruitful.
thing. Same
It's
thing.
only no, it's not.
It is.
I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul
Okay.
if I'm taking food off my plate to invest in your idea. Then I'm
I don't,
robbing Peter to pay Paul.
I said that, but I don't necessarily just because I ain't know what their finances was, right? I'm just assuming.
Yeah, but that's a generalization, though.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So that's why
So
yeah.
whatever their finances was, my whole point is that those people galvanize their money to where they can get ships. With a Dr. Umar, you still don't get a school,
Not
right?
yet, right? Ain't he still building?
Still building, right? Still gathering funds. Not still begging for the same folks to give them the same money, right? Looking for new people to give them some more money, right? And I'm like, where's the grant writers? Like, there's a whole bunch of ways to get money, right? Like how about we use those? But because of his mission and his focus is the people, he needs the people to buy in, right? Like, and that's the only way anything's gonna work. The people got to buy in, and the fact that people are not buying in. You said, how come they don't get together? Because people are not buying in. The people are not saying that they want to work together.
Because they don't feel it in their heart.
They don't feel it in their heart. Like, they're not
Okay.
desire. Like, so the 5%, right? Like, we get enough information, we get enough awareness, and we make decisions. We make decisions to remain 5% or to join the 85%. Is that red pill, blue pill, right? What my man say? I know it's not a real steak, but it tastes good anyway.
Right.
Even, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Marcus Garvey, right? Well, Marcus Garvey, the people believed in his idea. All right. And they supported it. And it was beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
But he probably introduced it because he was the CEO of the company.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The living conditions at that time, all right, and the conditions of people's mind would be the thing that allowed them to see his vision and to put it into their heart and then act upon it. All right.
It's like 1910 or something like that, I want to say.
Okay. Yeah. It was in the 10s and 20s.
Wow.
All right. But then with Martin Luther King, it's no difference. The conditions were Black people were tired of being treated the way that they were being treated.
Treated like
They
crap.
also wanted some white pie. Okay. Some people wanted that to go and live across town in the area where, okay.
Enough people wanted that.
All right. And that's what he was offering.
Yeah.
All right. So they felt that in their heart and they doing it. Now
he was I'm saying that he was offering what they already wanted in the first place.
I can assume that.
I
don't know.
See,
I don't know because they didn't stop getting beat. They didn't stop getting
none of that
racially profiled.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? You just got to go live over there. Right. Jim Crow happened. You just got to go live over there. And now you was right next door. So maybe somebody would learn to like you a little bit more, understand. You know what I'm saying? That all of you aren't the same. Right? That's where we at today.
You all are the same.
Okay. So, like I was saying,
that's like a raisin in the sun. Hold on.
Civil rights was the problem, man. Human rights is what we should have fought for, right? Which is what we still are fighting for today, right? Like all this reparations talk, that's all just look at me as a human and say what happened to my ancestors and to me was wrong, is wrong. You can see police brutality is wrong, right? Like right is right, wrong is wrong, period. That's just regular human stuff. Civility is like, but you want to compare and contrast, how much your gunshot wound hurt more than mine. Is like, man, we both shot.
Right. So Dr. Umar, he had people. He has his people who believe in him, and now he has people who don't believe in him. Just like it was people during the Martin Luther King era when Malcolm X who rather went with Martin
with Malcolm X
than follow Malcolm.
Yeah.
So we seeing these patterns repeat. It's no different than people wanting to go to church. And that's how I see
Oh,
it.
not
I
go to
see it
church.
as no different from people wanting to go to church and people don't want to believe in Umar school for black boys. It's no different from people wanting to
They just don't
follow
want. They just don't want to
Reza
believe.
Islam or follow Ice Cube and his CBA or listen to what Kanye's saying about Jewish people or Professor Griff or any of these people that everybody still takes these cues from, that they still have more followers than us. Okay.
Right.
More when they videos go out, they got more video views than us. When they name hit the streets, hit the internet streets, they get more likes and more shares and more woo-woos and more takes and
Right.
TikToks
Comments,
and all.
all that.
Okay. So they got the influence. That means that they already in the people's heart who checking for them all the time.
So listen to what you said. They are in the people's heart, not the mission, right?
Right.
So they themselves. So now we're talking about personality worship.
Yeah, or popularity.
I mean, that's where we
that's
at though.
yeah, but
That's where we at.
that's different than the Martin Luther King bus boycott,
Well,
and
yeah,
and
okay.
that's
That is
different.
obviously that's
That is
different.
different than a Marcus Garvey Black Star Line popularity contest and stuff. Now that's akin to Malcolm X and them Nation of Islam standing on the other side talking about like, nah, look at those Negroes over there getting beat and watching black folks getting beat and not doing nothing about it, talking about that wouldn't happen to us, right? But
Right.
But it
Yeah.
would, but it
'Cause we got
wasn't.
guns.
But it wasn't.
it wasn't, but it was happening to other black people, right? And the
And
only
Yeah, of
thing,
course.
and the only
who
thing
was
that made it
choosing to follow Martin Luther King's
Martin Luther
path
King.
of nonviolence.
right.
Yeah.
So they was
Like the lunch
choosing,
counter, sitting at the
they
lunch
was
counter.
that
So
was in
so
their heart, and
so
they
this
were choosing to get their ass whooped. Is that what we saying?
this
Because
what I'm
they
saying,
had a
right?
brother, because they had a brother across the street that wasn't nobody punching on them.
Sure wasn't.
So
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
saying is like if it is popularity, then it is still popularity because that's no different. It changed the way it looks because we got the internet, we got social media and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but it's still that same thing. Now,
Yeah.
I agree with you when you said that the mission wasn't in their hearts, but I'm like their names are in their hearts, in their mind. They checking for them, right? Some
Mm-hmm.
of them people are contributing. Some of the people, when we look back then, had more resources because they were able to chip in. When we look at a lot of the things like that, they were funded like with Martin Luther King's movement and them being funded and the NAACP and all them. You have people willing to go to work and put a couple dollars into, you know what I'm saying, whatever.
Right,
You had the
towards that,
churches,
towards the
right? You had
movement.
the
Yeah.
churches saying we need to do this organizing thing. Y'all need
Right.
to.
For Martin. Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying we need everybody. Umar need, if in order for him to get his school bill, he gonna get the money because he's self-determined. All right. At the end of the day, like I don't know when it's gonna happen. I just hope he get to school because I know it'll help some young black boys.
Facts.
Okay, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about none of the rhetoric or nothing about that. I haven't contributed a dime to his school, a penny. Okay. So I don't care about how long it's taking to get it done. If I cared about how long it's taking to get done, then I need to put up some money. I need to put some bread into it. Put my money where your mouth at. That's my opinion about Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Umar and his school. All right. Everybody, the internet got their whole other, and everybody entitled to all that. The thing is that we still need, if it's going to be about a collective, then we need all them people in the room. We need some of them black people with the money. Maybe Dr. Umar and all of his psychological greatness in education, his being able to, diagnose this and that from a mental health standpoint. Maybe he is, and I don't know this about this brother. Maybe he is absolutely financially illiterate, and that's why we seeing him have such a problem and delay in with the finances of constructing this school? Because clearly somebody, we seen it, or either people don't utilize it. We seen Ben Carson is a brother who I would say need to be in that room too. All right.
Oh yeah,
The
definitely.
first Black man ever to perform brain surgery.
Brain surgery,
All right.
yeah.
But then you working at the welfare office. Okay. It don't make sense to me. And I know you ain't getting paid more as a government employee than you would be somewhere.
Yeah, as
doing
a
Teaching
neurosurgeon,
about
right?
brain surgery.
And teaching
Yeah,
other Black boys and girls
Yeah,
and
definitely.
other minorities, whoever, to, you know what I'm saying?
doctors,
And
yeah,
matter of fact, any Americans, anybody who willing to go study under this brother, just because you get it from the brother, you getting that knowledge from that guy. You see what I'm
right,
saying?
from him.
So I don't care if he was at Princeton or Harvard and he wasn't at a HBCU. If he was at a HBCU, then it'll be crazier. You know what I'm saying? Because it'll be
Yeah,
like,
of course.
woo, okay, yeah, it'd be a little hype about it. But I wouldn't care as long as that's giving back. Working at the welfare office ain't giving back. Okay, it's in my opinion. But we need all them
I agree
people
too.
together, because we need their influences, and because that's where we at in this world today. The influence. And I think that Malcolm X had an influence, Marcus
Yeah,
Garvey had
major.
an influence, and Martin Luther King had an influence too. That's the reason how they got all them people to follow him.
So I'm gonna say that this is kind of why segregation is good a little bit for me, right? So while it's good, I do agree that if all those people came together, then they will galvanize all the people and everything will be good. But I think what will be better is if the people that support and follow Dr. Umar support and follow Dr. Umar, right? And get the school up. They should pay tithes and offerings like you do with the church and treat it like a
I
building
was just
fund.
going to say that the way they do that in
Like
churches, and you
and
got
and
preachers with
and
Lamborghinis and stuff.
and I'm saying that those people should be the ones to fund Dr. Umar School, the people who has it in their heart that we need to do this for these little Black boys, and this man is the man to do it. Those people need to do it, and everybody who talk crap about it or who don't do it shouldn't matter, right? I think that the people that already follow Rizza Islam should be the ones to galvanize and do some Rizza Islam shit. Everybody who don't kind of don't matter, right?
That's obvious. That's the obvious though,
But
God.
but so what's not obvious though is each one of these groups keep looking outside the group, see who looking at them and looking at what everybody else is doing, and not focusing on what they got to do in the group, right? So things never happen, and everybody keeps saying, well, everybody got to do this, everybody got to do that. No, if just the people that's already there get busy, then work would be working, and it would just be working, and you look up one day and everything's fixed.
I'm not knowledgeable enough about the inner workings of Umar's school in particular.
I'm not knowledgeable
Right.
about none of this stuff.
But yes, if that's the case, it's no different than what we do here. We all in, so we come together and we put it together, right? So everything requires the teamwork in order for the dream to work. Big facts. Now, in order for, they gotta have people that's willing, and we don't know if Umar got people that's willing, and you gotta have people that have some finances,
right? They have money.
you know. So
Both
you got
those.
right. So you gotta have the willing, like we said, being in their heart, and then also they gotta have the finances. So he may be suffering from that. He may not. That's where you was like, when you hear him talking about trying to secure funding and things like that, that's what he may be trying to talk about, you know, that, and it's having other buy-in to get private equity versus to be trying to, you know, get government grants. Where,
Let me ask you a question about that. So what do you and this is not limited to an Umar. This is to all of the people, all of the our potential influencers and possible leaders or whatever, right?
I don't mean to cut you off, but I gotta get going, guys. I gotta work in the morning.
All right,
All right.
Jay.
Yeah, what's your closing words? What you got?
You know what? Basically, segregation, it was a terrible thing that happened, but you know what? We're still in a segregation right now as it stands with African American, with our black people. You know, we need to be more together and more about community and helping each other. You know, so some of these things can get accomplished within our communities and our schools and our you know, various places, just like some of the other cultures do. You know, only things great can happen is if we're working together and we share our resources. So, yeah,
Teams win.
right.
Teams do win.
All right.
All
Yeah.
right. Have a positive and productive start to your week, Jazz.
Thank you. You as well.
Peace.
Bye,
And
guys.
we'll see you next Sunday. Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
That's what I think, man. I think if folks just focused on what it is they had to do, right? Like we come to and we do Cigar Sundays, it could be 500 people or 5 million people that watch this or don't watch it. That kind of don't matter, right?
Yeah, it don't matter.
What's in our heart is what matters, and the people that gravitate towards us. What I was saying about Umar though, and in the Umars or all the different leaders, right? If let's say he was originally asking for like I don't know $2 million to build a school, and he's sitting at 750 or whatever for like 5 years. I think that we should work with what we got and make things happen with what we got instead of waiting and constantly wait until we have 2 million, right? Work with what you got, move in that direction, because if people could actually see $750,000 worth of walking, they can be like, oh, okay, yeah, he did start here, and now they way over there, or maybe they just right there. And if they had a little bit more funds, they can get a little further. Let me throw in 25,000. Let me throw in 50,000. Let me help them out, right? But if you're always at zero, even when you got 750,000, because now you're talking about it costs you to fly out here and it costs you to rent a car and all this other stuff, and it ain't cheap putting on these lectures, folks, and it's hard work and dedication and time and blah blah blah, and you using potentially um, uh, uh, fund money for house money,
Yeah,
right?
I mean that's alleged. We don't know, and that's what we were saying. Like we don't know.
You don't know, right? And that's
We're familiar with his ability to articulate and
yeah.
talk and as an educator and diagnose children. We know his professional background, but we don't know his level of financial literacy. So it's another brother, that brother then from Atlanta, that Jay Morrison. Well, he's not from Atlanta, I don't think, but he was down there and he had the Tulsa, Oklahoma fund.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some things that people expected all of the money that he made, and he made some investments that didn't pan out. I understand that investments don't pan out sometimes. Okay, so you take losses, all right, but do you take learning lessons? I do also understand that everybody who just puts in $1 or $2 doesn't even understand that.
They don't understand that.
Okay, so they don't understand the risk, because you can hear an idea, but all you have is a 401k that you depend on for the rest of your life, and you know nothing about how it works. Your taxes
Correct.
are probably deferred. So you're gonna be disappointed when you get to the end of it, because you're gonna think you had this amount, then you're gonna get hit with all these taxes.
And I'm saying that's if you got a 401k, right? And that's because, you know, that's if you got a 401k job or a pension job or something like that, right? Like,
well, I mean, I'm just sticking on 401k. I ain't going to the pensions and all that. We not having an investment conversation, but I'm talking about the surprise of not knowing things, because we just take what's on the surface of, like, the person has the idea, they just giving the money, but they don't do any other investigation about what they're contributing this money to.
correct.
Okay. And then once it gets to the end, or as things begin to progress, they wonder why they don't have as much, or it isn't making the progress that they thought it would, that they never educated themselves to.
Correct. Because they still, it's all, again, it's all personality worship, right? It's all, because you're looking at this man, you're looking at this person, and they inspired you, and their words captivated you, their cadence,
Like church.
their tone, right? And that's what they practice, right? And for the most part, that's what I'm saying, man. I only want to do stuff, and I only want to talk to people that want to do stuff, right? If you are not going to be able to do nothing until everybody show up, man, stay away from me. Because if it's just me, I got to do what I got to do, and I can only do what I can do. But that is my task and my responsibility to do that. I can't be on some old, well, Pearl didn't show up, so I guess no cigar Sundays today. I mean, that's a bad example.
yeah, because you know what I'm saying. You know, I remember that next time you dealing with something. All right, I remember that. Yeah. All right.
But
No, that ain't always the case, you know, because if you value that person's input enough, then you're going to say, you know what, we're not going to do it this day, because it's just like today. Jazz, I was glad Jazz stayed on, because Jazz texted and said she wasn't going to make it. And then I said, come on, Jazz, just pull up. You know what I'm saying?
Stayed the whole show.
So yeah, so you know, so like I'm like, come on, you know, we missed a couple weeks, you know, due to a consideration for our, you know,
Much needed
for our
consideration.
Cigarden panelists, you know what I mean?
Much needed consideration.
Because we want to have conversations that's not just one-sided. We want to have difference of opinions. We want to exchange insights. That's what we do here.
Want to have healthy conversations.
Yeah. You know, and you can't just do that. Like if I'm just sitting up here with one way, then I'm the guru. You know, now I'm the pastor.
And you're looking for followers.
You see
right?
what I'm saying?
And yeah, and it's tricky, right? And that's why I say, it got to be in people's hearts, because if you're talking, otherwise you're casting pearls before swine, right? If the person is not in it, if it's not in them to change or to do something, and they're just listening to you because they like the way you look or sound or whatever, that's not I mean, it's kind of beneficial, but it's not really helpful, right? For what you're trying to do, unless you're trying to just get people. And that's it.
Well, we're in the business of YouTube, so it's helpful.
Yeah, but
we're in the streaming business, so it's
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm talking about like
somebody think I'm handsome. Hey, it's not. I'm married. Watch. If you think you know what I'm saying is good, hey, watch for that too.
Definitely.
If you like what the guy Ali Dawood saying is, watch for that. If you like what we saying, watch for that too. Yeah, because that's the business we in. So that's what I'm talking about. Like it's hard to be. It's not even hard. It's just understanding, like, we in that world now. We in that space. And that's why I have to consider those things, God. When I'm saying the Umars, the Ice Cubes, yes, I know they have an occupation. I know they have a public identity that everybody, even from pastors to all the churches, all the AME churches and all the black churches, and you know, the athletes that wanna have a voice, but they don't want to do too much because they understand they still employees, you know, um,
And
the
and
social
I'm saying they should just chill and just be employees,
the
right?
social media personalities.
Yeah,
Well, I'm saying they should be able to participate. That's what I'm saying, because it ain't like they don't come from the same communities, and they the ones that made it out.
yeah, but
You know,
this is America, right? And this is a slave culture, right? So this thing is all about putting on the show. So you can't come out here and come into somebody's company and disrupt what they got going on, right? Because they got their shareholders, and it's all business. It's all ones and zeros, and it's all dollars and cents. Like,
yeah, we have to be structured like that. Like there can be no cooperative economic if there isn't business, if it isn't business oriented, you know? So like it has to be that. But that is the goal. The goal is to improve the economic situation. Like a lot of people think by improving the economic situation, well, period. By improving your own economic situation, you improve your quality of life. Remember that whole bootstraps thing you talking about?
yeah,
If I make a certain amount of money now, regardless of this segregation, all right, it still is a form of segregation because now it's an economic segregation, right?
yeah.
And I can send my kids to the school where they don't have PE, they have lunch, and they don't have processed foods at lunch, you know, and you have to learn a language. Like
Yeah,
it's mandatory, not that you take it, but you actually have to learn it. So
which is different, right?
it's difference.
It's a huge difference. It's something that's in your heart, and they force you because they make you in order to pass, you have to learn this language,
Right.
right? Versus you just have to take this class.
You just got to take it, and there is no requirement that you learn it to be able to have it as a tool in life.
Correct.
Okay. So that comes with that whole economic, I'm leveling up and I'm putting my kids over here, you know, or I'm homeschooling, and you have the ability to do that where you have a parent who makes a enough money, finances are well enough to maintain the household for one parent to be able to, or to be able to pay somebody to come in and do that. They can facilitate that.
Never thought
So
about that.
yeah,
That
fam, like
that that so people that like I never thought
that's an
about
economic freedom.
I
It
never thought
really
about that.
is.
I never thought
Because
about that.
everybody else got to go to the same public school. They don't have no choice. They got to go to work and pay their rent and keep
Yeah,
Jordans on their feet and stuff like that. And so
that's
they
true.
don't
Yeah.
have that liberty to be able to do that. You know?
Yeah, I guess that's ultimately what my issue is, right? Like, again, on the topic of segregation, right? Like the forced segregation was terrible. The white water fountains, the white this and the white that, like that's all crazy, right? But the culture that we had during those times, the way that we benefited each other during those times, and I didn't live through that, but from what I can see in my grandmother's eyes when she tells stories, when I listen to my great aunts and them when they talk about stories of how they grew up, they didn't tell me stories of them getting lynched, right? Like they told me regular stories of growing up and living and enjoying life and yeah, you had monsters back then as well, but for the most part, um, everybody recognized that we all we got, and we have to look out for each other, right? We practiced nepotism during those times. We desegregate and and we allow everybody else or other cultures or ethnic groups to practice nepotism, and we say things like, must be nice, and we don't practice it.
Right.
We still think that somebody's going to embarrass us if I bring, smoke to my job. He's gonna embarrass us. He's
Yeah.
gonna make us look bad, and instead of, no, he's gonna embarrass himself. This is an opportunity for him to improve himself, and he can do that or he cannot do that. I'm not gonna stop helping people because somebody embarrassed themselves or somebody dropped the ball. Back in those days, the community would probably have a conversation with you like, yo, you messing up, right? Mr. Willie, he done told your mother, he done told everybody that, and he's trying to help you. He's trying to make it so that you can continue to take care of your family because you need to work here in America because you cannot eat for free.
Yeah, but they had to value each other's
They had to value. They
communication,
that's
like they had to value that. They had to value that. So like,
they had
you
communication
know,
then. They listened to each other back then,
yeah.
right? It was important, right, to what you were saying, because even if we were singing those Negro spirituals and whatnot, they had messages in those words.
Today, more so, people only value you when they need something.
100%,
That's
which is
it.
which is terrible.
Once they feel like they don't need you no more, then it's fuck you. You know.
Which,
So,
which is crazy because the reality is like we need each other all the time, right? Like,
but we don't need those people.
not those not those people, and
No,
and
we
and
don't
it- and
need
it, and
those
it could and it could be an Aliism, it could be a 5% way of thinking,
people.
right? But
Yeah.
like I need to see Pearl succeed,
Like it's
right?
like
I need to see Sister Jazz succeed. Like I need to see my loved ones do well.
everybody I care about, I want them to be the best version of themselves, and
100%
and
facts.
and have whatever they earthly desire. Everything, no matter what it looked like. And if I could be instrumental in it, I'm here.
No judgment, right? Like
You
whatever it
know,
is that you want and need to be you, do you, right? Like, and that's, and to me that's a freedom, right? To be able to do those things in order to make yourself comfortable is a form of freedom, I think. And so many of us are uncomfortable lying to ourselves. That's why we get the Jordans living in the projects. That's why we get the expensive cars, living above our means, and having all these earthly desires without earthly means.
it's
You know what I'm saying?
called debt. It's called debt.
It's
So
called hell.
it's a wonderful. It's a wonderful. In the
No,
Bible, they said it was something. I don't know. I ain't gonna quote the Bible too much. I don't know.
nah, I'm a quote Charleston White. It was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare, right?
It's a nightmare.
But you know what I'm saying. But when used correctly,
It could
trust
be
and believe,
it could be a
debt
dream.
debt is an asset. You
Yeah,
know. So, but you have to get to that. You have to understand. You got to get some financial literacy to understand that. You know, and that's not taught. That's not commonly taught, and that's why once again the people have to. Once we get to this segregation in B in the Merriam-Webster, it says the separation for special treatment or observation of individuals or items from a larger group. Okay, segregation of gifted children into accelerated classes. So when we see like the reason why I say the basketball players should
hmm
be accepted, the athletes should be accepted at the table, and whatever they bring to the table
influences. I got you.
is because of their influence, and they were segregated.
I'm
Like
jacking
they
that.
they left from they hood because of their talent and got to go to uh a Stanford, uh, uh, Arizona State, a Kentucky, a Duke University, a Chapel Hill. They got to go to schools like that where they're going to be around kids who are there for academia purposes. Never been around no type of thug, trap houses, none of that. They only seen it on TV.
Not to say that any of those athletes are thugs or trap house participants
No.
themselves, but if they came from the hood, they are familiar,
They
right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
and just growing up in a hood and surviving that makes you tough in it in of itself. You've never had to have shot or stabbed or
No,
robbed anybody. If
no.
you grew up in that hood where they do get shot, stabbed, and robbed, and you survive to make babies, uh, or to make baby age. Let me say that. Then you are successful, right? Then you have
See, most of the time it was some people around them who was doing that stuff who kept them out of that.
correct.
You see? So that's why I'm saying that they have an influence, and those
Right.
people are still tied to the community.
You're right.
So if they're there, then they can go back and disseminate this information, man. I was around a lot of good people. I'm sure you heard about it. And they was like, oh, you down with that? Yeah, man. So I'm gonna need y'all to get on board. We trying to do this thing in the communities nationwide. Okay. So without everybody in it, then it won't be nepotism. It'll just be the way it is now. Our team working together. And you have other teams that work together, and then you have another team that work together. But you know what I'm saying? But that's their team, and that's our team. And that so what do we so what did that seem like we doing now? We're segregated and we're competing.
Which is why I say our Lee's team is a team of is a conglomerate, right? Like everybody on my team is on their own teams, right? So we're just bringing the people together, right? Like let's. That's what I'm saying. If RZA Islam's crew just focused on that and they were successful doing RZA Islam stuff,
They
it,
are though. He
uh,
is.
no,
They
no,
are.
no, I'm talking about that group and whoever that is. If all of the Umar people were successful in that, right? I think naturally because those people are talking about the same things, and if they are successful as themselves in their group, I think that would naturally propel them to be accepted by everybody else because it is working, it is successful. What you say about Charleston White? Like he went from what he say when he was talking positivity, nobody listened to him.
Nobody was tuned in.
Soon as he started talking trash talk, like now he viral, and he took that viralness and transitioned it to the stage, right? Somebody like me is saying to myself, like, so was the stage always the intent? And was all of this pre stuff just a way to get your name out and to get an audience so that people will pay for now that you're on stage? Which is my problem, right? Sister Jazz, when she saw that, all she saw was a comedian and didn't take nothing that he said for nothing, right? She just dismissed everything he said in totality
Mm-hmm.
and chalked it up as he's a comedian. And she even talked about his inflections. So he even lost the right to just be a regular human. Hell, I might break out into song in the middle of conversation. But you better believe that everything that I'm saying, I am 100% about, right? I'm not playing, right? But she would see a him or somebody like that and relegate them to it's not serious. I ain't gotta put no thought into it. She hears segregation and she think lynchings and all that stuff, right? She don't even like I said, none of the stuff that he was saying didn't even matter because he was a comedian and he was saying it in a funny way, right? That's my problem. That the 80 that so the 5% we can understand that we can see the value in those people and the value in their message and the value in their influence. I'm scared of the people that is being influenced, not really being influenced and just being people worshipers, and now they're not really on a team for real. Like they just paper soldiers. That's
Hey, and it's not to refute what you saying, but I know some 5%ers that don't get it.
I do too. No.
That don't get it.
I'm not talking about literal 5%ers like the nation
No,
of God's herbs.
no, but I'm talking about they claim
I
and
got
they
you.
don't get it.
I got you.
You know, and they don't at all. So yeah, so like I understand that for sure. But it's some people out here that's like they acting like they understand it, but they don't. The actions aren't reflective of it.
Yeah, nah, and I'm saying that those people not 5%, right? Like they not God body at all, because they not operating in their maximum potential. They're not operating in their potential at all, right? They only they resonate, low frequency. That's not God body. God body is self defense mode. Like you're trying to be you're in the right. You're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to be above board. You're trying to not necessarily walk on water, but you want to make sure that you don't never drown.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Want to keep a life jacket.
Keep a life jacket, you know what I'm
Keep
saying?
a PFD, baby.
You know how to tread water, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Versus the person that refuse to learn how to tread water, that's gonna pull you down and drown you, so that they can now live. Like it wasn't worth it to them when they was on dry land to learn how to save their life. They want to wait till they are in dire straits to now rely on you and your resources and pull you down. I'm anti that. Like me personally, I'm anti that, and I'm pro. I'm like, man, get out of here. Like I'm not that nice guy. That's
Not that nice guy. I know that. I know that's all good.
hey, but and I appreciate the people that are, and like you saying, like they are our athletes and entertainers, right? Because they do have the influence. I just
They do. Like, I mean, and it's not like I get the whole part about them speaking out about certain things, but I'm just like, man, sometimes it doesn't get heard. Like enough people won't hear it, unless they say it. And a lot of times, like that's unfortunate.
that is
Somebody
true.
who we would place more value in, not as a messiah or this or that, as a god, or they are a pastor. All
Yeah,
right. Not that, but you respect the knowledge, you respect the communication with their sharing.
yeah,
Okay. We respect the information that they pass down. Okay. And it just happens to come from a person that tends to pass down good information all consistently. So reliable, right? So
that's important.
yeah. So if that is, then there is that allows us some conviction, that also allows us some consideration. We take into consideration what they're saying. All right, what's being communicated. So if that stuff gets regurgitated and it's maybe wrong, it's incorrect from the original source, but then more people hear it and it drives them to want to go to the original source, then it's like, if we just shut them up, if we tell a group of people to just shut up, like the athletes in particular, if we tell them just shut up, then they become the knowers too, but they ain't doing nothing. And they got all the resource. They have the economic resources, which is needed in order to be able to manifest these physical things.
And maybe that's more so what I'm saying, right? Because Like I'm saying, all of the Umars, the Rizza Islams, the all of those people, they need to go to the people that got the resources. Because what you say, they got the people already. They got the influence. They got the social media crowd already, right? So they got their people already. Now they just need to put those people to work. And if you don't have the resources or a plan to put those people to work, then it's just going to be just talking, 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 right? So for me personally, when I see the athletes and entertainers, I I like the with the Serena Williams and them they do a lot of stuff with their money, like a lot of things towards the community that you would have to be a fan of theirs to know, to like you have to be a follower of them to know what they're doing, right? And then see what they're doing in the community, right? I think those things need to be more, I don't know if more publicized, but more publicized in the community itself, that this person did this and is here for you to take advantage of. And I think people need to take advantage of those things, right? Because
Yeah.
again, just like with the welfare, unless there's people to create the requirement, you don't get the funds, you don't get the resources for it. So you need to buy in, right? And everybody we gotta stop believing in each other, man. And just if that's what I say, right? Like by being God, you have access, or you are all your potential. And if you just believe in that, you get things done, right? Like I can do it, I can do it. That's the little engine that could. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And if everybody is maximizing their potential, then it just works, right? Like I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I'm a doer. I don't like talking. I
If
don't like.
everybody show up to play, if everybody show up to win,
Right.
then we
Right.
got a shot.
We got a
When we
good game.
play in the game.
We definitely gonna have a good game.
We got a
Right.
shot. If
If
everybody
everybody
shows up to win,
not to
everybody
play,
wants to win, right?
not to
Not to
play,
play. Nah,
to
everybody
win.
shows up to win.
We
Then
about to have a banging game. Like we about
we
to.
should have a pretty rewarding result at the end.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So yeah, God, we're gonna go ahead and close it out this evening. We had segregation this evening,
Hey.
and just my my little thoughts on whether it's bad or good, misunderstood, the definitions of this word, learning the definitions and having this conversation tonight. Really opened my eyes up to just different aspects of segregation versus the racial segregation that is the most perpetuated.
Thought
Uh,
process. Period.
yeah, like, and everybody just is usually stuck on that. It's like they're triggered.
The trigger.
Um, but nobody actually goes and removes the racial from the segregation and identifies that. And then us doing so tonight, think we need to desegregate. And I don't mean I don't mean racially. I don't mean stop interacting with people socially. Um, but I think we need to do it spiritually. We need to do it mentally. Um,
Segregate or desegregate.
well, desegregate, because segregation is the separation.
So you want to get back together? Okay.
Yeah. So we need to desegregate.
Got you.
And I think we need to do that not from, like I was saying, from people and different ideas and things like that, or different religions and stuff like that. Because in order for everybody to come together, then it has to be something agreeable. It has to be something one thing that has to be agreed upon.
Just one.
Just one.
Just one thing.
I would say, in a perfect world, or in a world where people do want to have from the racial segregation that is the most triggered thing and what is the most knowledgeable or surface levelly knowledgeable, there's an economic thing undertone that is always addressed, because that is always like whenever there's a talk of some type of repair, the economic thing is always at the root of it. And everybody's belief is that this economic relief can, one, apologize and correct, have 400 years or whatever of slavery and mistreatment and oppression and all these things, and everybody just gonna be like, okay, we just forgive you, give us some money, we're just gonna forgive you. All right, I'm saying we see that, and in the reality of it, we know that having money, what we talked about earlier, allows people access to be able to do different things, be more segregated. Okay. So the goal is we want more segregation, because if we didn't want more money for the repair, if we didn't want to make more money so we could do different things, that even if we get it for the repair, you're still going to put us in another socio-economic class, okay, which will be higher than where people at now as a collective. All right. Then the way to get to it, at least while waiting on that or looking for that repair to come, all right, the desegregation would be the path. Just got to agree on one thing. I know it took a little while for me to land the plane, but, that's why I think it's misunderstood. And I believe that segregation, it's bad and good and misunderstood. I'm going to go with all three. But I explain why it's misunderstood. And that's where I'm leaving that at. But it's bad and good because I learned from it, from segregation, so that's the good part that I get from it. Like if not being a part of it, a part of the segregation experiment, then and able to self-reflect and see my own self in it, in society, and how I move and everything else, and be able to observe my peers, and then it's good because I learned something from it. Was it bad that I had to go through that? I don't know, because I don't complain. I just do. I try to learn and do.
Right, so it's hard, right? It's hard to have. It's hard, yeah.
So, but I definitely standing on it's misunderstood, because if we could get just desegregate on one issue, just one issue, then maybe some of these people that we discussed tonight wouldn't look like they just these one people, and they doing well on that, because we know their names.
Correct.
So their team is working with that part. They got that, whatever team they got to keep them on the net and out here.
Correct.
They got that on, so hopefully they monetize it. Hopefully they getting some type of residuals off that. I would think they all are. I would think they're intelligent enough to. Because like we said, we seen the brother just segue his whole ratchetness into stand-up. Whether if it was on purpose.
His positivity to ratchetness to stand-up.
Positivity to ratchetness to stand-up. Yeah. And he still, and from what he says, he still does those positive things that he was talking about. He do all that community stuff and everything. Yeah, he still does that. So he's still going to go.
Which is more important than anything that he says.
We know that. I knew that too. Yes, absolutely. Which is way more important than anything come out of his mouth.
Right, like those things that the things that he do 100% affect the people of his community, right? Like he be affecting local change, right? And that's not small, right? That is local is almost everything because that is the community. Like your community starts locally, right? And if you refuse to see your local community because you're looking for or waiting for the greater community to become the greater community, I'm saying you're gonna always be missing a point, right? Like I agree with you, God. All three. Um, Definitely leaning towards misunderstood because, like I stated early on, my only problem with segregation is the enforcement of it, right? Like somebody putting down on somebody else
Right.
for whatever reason, like lawfully and legally putting down. Like I'm anti those things. I think I think asking asking anybody, I think sexual questions or sexual conversations in a workplace or in a professional setting is unprofessional, is uncalled for. So I will
Yeah.
never I will never understand the need for sexual segregation, like that whole LGBT stuff. Um, I'm not dismissing it in any way.
So what you saying? There should be 3 bathrooms or 2?
Like I'm saying, like, do you stand up or do you sit down? I think that's it.
Okay.
Right? Like, if you call it a male or if you call it a female, like I think that's a corny conversation, right?
Okay.
I think it's unnecessary, right? I think you going into the bathroom to take a shit, right? Or to piss. I think those things are not sexual. I don't think those things are tantalizing. I don't think those things are exciting. I think those are regular human things, right? And focus on what you got to do in the bathroom and come out. All right. Uh, but in reference to like I'm pro all of the community aspects that we had during segregation. I feel like if the stories are true and we really did come from the continent of Africa, I feel like we was most African during those times of segregation, right? Our practices were African in nature. Is it was in my heart and mind to think, right? The one thing that I think that to free us all is ironically reparations, right? I think that not necessarily the financial aspect of it because that's so limiting, but the actual real deal repair, right? If we take what we do on Cigar Sundays and actually have consideration for these words and apply them to our daily lives, right, and start to repair our own thinking on how we see the world based on a new understanding of understanding the word, right? Because now we have new perspective. That repair is what's needed. We need personal repair. We need to accept each other's repair in motion or whatever, right? Like we need to get to healing. We need to get to hugs so that it's not black, white, gay, lesbian, or short, tall, whatever the dumb stuff is, right? Because what you say, it should be 2 bathrooms or 3. Like we talk about pissing and shitting. Like what the hell we talking about? Right?
Sure.
Like it used to just be a dig a ditch or dig a hole and do your thing and cover it and
The
cover it up.
outhouse. Hey, you go back to the outhouse. Go to the field. Go to back to the house.
Yeah, like like the snake didn't care who ass it was biting.
Around outside the house.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So that's what I think. I think reparations and is the key and the cure like you say, even from the financial aspect of the access that it may provide to those that take advantage of it, is a wonderful thing. And that access, while it may force a level of economic segregation, because now with exposure, you are now like not your observation, but your perspective is way bigger because you're exposed to more things, right? And the difference between taking a class and having to learn a lesson are two different things, right? And that's an important takeaway in that, right? That's why I talk about being in their heart, because you gotta be willing to understand why we're walking for 2 years, right? We're gonna if it took 3 years, we're gonna walk. They had to beg us. They had to beg our ancestors to come back on the bus. Please spend your money with us because our economy is failing without it.
That sounds like cooperative economics.
Which is super African.
You know, so
right?
I like it. And it could be all that, and I'm like, but it's financially literate.
Financially literate, bro. But yeah, that's me, bro. We on the same page, same team. Like, and I'm with you now. I do see. I am now seeing value in entertainers and athletes talking, I guess.
Oh,
Right.
that's my opinion, God. You know what I'm saying?
No, but it's not your opinion, because is rooted in facts, right? And if it was your opinion, I would be able to dismiss it. And the reality is, these individuals do have a fan base and a support system, and they do have a lot of followers, and they do have a lot of influence.
Oh yeah, it's a true opinion.
It
my true opinion.
It makes it a fact. It makes it a fact. It makes it less your opinion and more of, so it makes it.
That's how I see it. That's how I see it. That's how I observe it, God. That's my observation of it.
And I observed it as all I saw them doing was talking and not doing nothing, and I ain't see no value in that. But I can now, though, right? I can see the value in that now. All right, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, so that's peace, God. You know, the brothers be trying to look out for some stuff. I mean, but like they still employees.
They're still employees.
Yeah, like I know firsthand with that's like, yeah, this like, can you put this out?
Wow.
You got to consider those things, because I'm depending on my economics. You know, it may take a hit to whatever my generational wealth plans are, and a source of income that I'm trying to actually secure.
And if you need more resources than your support system can provide, then I think that's what I'm definitely defining living beyond your means.
Yeah. I mean, you can always dream bigger than
you dream, but reality is real, son.
Yeah, you can always dream real big, you know. But did you do the budget on the dream? Did you do the cost? So
the cost analysis and all that.
Yeah, you gotta do, run the numbers, man.
Yeah. All right, God.
Yeah,
that's definitely a good one, man.
No doubt. So we want to thank everybody for watching and joining us tonight. Kindly leave us a like and also share the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode of Cigar Sundays Live when we go live. And don't forget to check out all of the links in the description. We have a lot of great things for y'all. And we will see y'all next time right here on Cigar Sundays Live. Peace, God.
Peace, God. This whole publication is all about going from nowhere to somewhere, right? Being able to stand on something so that you can travel in peace, right? So bksoulfarm.com, 1016 160 self-sustainability. Jump on a list and get yourself together, right? Because it is irresponsible to not know how, to not even know what responsibility means, right? Or what it means for you to be responsible. So get yourself together, food, clothing, and shelter, protection of that, and support your interests and live.
Slide of that line, what's your name, what's your sign? Is your legs tired, you been running through my mind. You be looking fine, your type really hard to find. You like 1 + 9, do you get it, you a dime, And can I get the digits to your line? Redefine love while I'm picking through your mind. Trying to see what's your interest. Time we should spend this. Turn to real friends before we get down to the business. Cause first we need respect and trust and love. Bonnie and Clyde type bond. Till death do us. Your friends all mad and mine too, yup. Wishing that they had a real love like us. I've been really trying.